Hey guys, how you doing? Sorry this isn't quite the video that you wanted. I'm well aware that a lot of people have been asking for me to start painting this, but that's a commission job, and I've just got another commission job out in the post to a customer, and I'm getting a bit overwhelmed with all this work, and I've got, a family and a business that I run as well, so it's tricky for me to keep taking on these commission projects, and it sort of saps the mojo out of me. I'm sort of doing this for work now, which was never the plan. I never needed to do it for work. It was just always a hobby, but I'm making friends in groups and they're asking me, and I'm doing favours for people and taking on jobs and that sort of thing. And it's just got to the point now, and I think, right, I just need one model break for myself to kickstart the mojo. And this is it. Again, I don't know why I chose a 3D printed kit to rekindle my love for model making, but because I'm not the biggest fan of 3D stuff, but this one is slightly different. It's been resin printed by Nico Mobius, and it's the Alain Rivard's 1/24 scale Naboo Mando ship from the Mandalorian. And very often with 3D printed kits, or ones that I've been used to, not only do you have print lines and that sort of thing, which isn't on this one. I haven't even sanded this yet, and it's really nice, come out beautiful, but it's the ill-fitting parts that's what really grinds my gears. When you try and get these together, I know resin kits are similar and they all have these sort of problems, but trying to get these guide lugs into the holes has been tricky, but that's gone in okay. I've done some slight modification. I've had to hacksaw off the back of this nub to make that slide in, but now that fits. And the idea is we get this cool, I love that on the ship, this carburettor to slide in like that, or it could be the other way. Yes, that way. And then you have the cockpit, which sits in like that. But actually, it's probably better to put it underneath the body. And these are sort of these have come out well. Nico's done a beautiful job printing. His work is always top notch, and it slides in like that. Famous last words. There we go. And then this bit goes on the back. If I can get it to. Yep. So we have the body, and then you've got the tail bit, which slides in underneath like that. And then you've got the engines. Now, I haven't figured out how to put the engines on yet because I haven't even started it, but I imagine that's going to be slightly problematic, but I'm a little concerned about the weight as well, because I know that the resin can sag over time. And you've got all these supports. You spend ages trying to click away with the old sprue cutters and sharpen up and sand off the areas that they've been connected to as reinforcements. But once they're gone, you're down to the resin holding itself up. And on the side of here, as I say, I haven't worked out how they click on yet, but I'm just worried about the fact that they're going to be sagging. You can break these apart, and inside I've put a rod, and Ellen's designed it so there's holes that go through each one, and that breaks apart. But you can see there's a rod in there, and that it's not too heavy, but it's heavy enough to sag under its own weight, possibly. So I'm slightly concerned about that. So that's another thing I've got to try and work out. And there's the other engine there. Now, I don't know if I needed to break that one off, because Don't know if that's the underside engine, but I have got one similar. I don't know if Nico included one extra because that one wasn't printed well enough, but I haven't bothered to break off the scaffolding on that one. And then we've got the Canopy glass, which is 3D printed, and that will need some work to get that clear. If anyone knows the correct sandpaper to use and to bring that up to a clear finish, I'd appreciate that if you could pop that in the comments. That's something I've yet to do. That's why I love this hobby, because you're always doing something new, you're always learning. And then we've got the Mando, which has come out okay. I mean, it looks like it's made of wax. But I think I'm going to do some amputation there and cut him down, take his Darksaber off and get him in there as a pilot. And then I have got a little tiny Baby Yoda that's one of my son's action figure cast-offs, and if that's the right scale I might stick that in the back as well, or I might just leave them completely out. You've got the tips of the guns here and the cannons for the front bits there. So yeah, it's going to be a fun project. It'll need some TLC because it's a resin kit, 3D printed kit rather, and it requires a polished black base for the metallized paints I'm going to be using. I don't know if I'm going to be using the Alumoluster, which is what I used for the Razor Crest. Probably not, because I want this to be a bit brighter so I can dull it down with the weathering. But there's some beautiful ones. If you go on Alan Rivard's model shop on Facebook, some absolutely stunning metal paintwork jobs have been done on this. It's almost intimidating for me to start this because I'm like, wow, just blown away by people's artwork. And there's some phenomenal painters out there and modelers, and it's just great fun to be amongst you all, so have fun doing this. So this is my first update. This is now going to get covered in primer, and we'll go from there. I mean, this took about a day's work to take all this off and sand it and prep it ready for painting. So yeah, it shouldn't be a major long project, but it's just one to blow away the cobwebs and get me back into the hobby. Okay, so I've got the upper and lower hull together. That took a lot of work, and heating it up and trying to get it to sit right. There's filler applied all inside there and then sanded back down. It's not perfect, but hopefully that'll be okay. I've drilled the holes bigger in here that pin these blocks to the wings, which then the engines just sort of slide on into place, and hopefully they'll be strong enough to hold and not sag. These were just totally flat, so I had to use the heat gun and like make them supple with the heat, not going too overboard, but enough to let them slide on, because if you can actually see, there's a rise there. It's flat at the bottom with a rise on top. That's not there in the file. You have to heat that up to allow that to slip on. On the other one, it cracked because this stuff, although it's printed in resin and it's good enough, it snaps like glass. That's another reason why I hate 3D printed stuff. Working with it is awful. So I had to fill all that up with deluxe putty, and I've just sanded that back down, and hopefully that'll hide under the primer. I've had to rescribe it all because I've had to sand the surface down to allow it to be smooth, to get rid of all the print lines that you can sort of see. I've put a 1/4" thread insert in there so I can get a little paint stand, and that'll thread in and have it able to be displayed. What else? The cockpit was installed beforehand. This should just drop in like so. I've had a few breaks because, as I said, it's 3D printed crap, and it's cracked there, 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 because when you're working with like a styrene kit or scratch building a studio scale model or anything, you won't get those situations where you have to heat it up, bend it. You'll only get them in poorly made resin kits or 3D printed kits, because what happens with 3D printed stuff is it looks great on computer and on the screen it looks, these parts should just slide in and fit and away you go, but that's never the case. When it comes out on the print bed, it's softened, deformed, or it just doesn't go together. You sort of push it together and you have a situation like this where it's shit. So you just have to spend your time heating it up, then you've got a lot of gaps to fill, that sort of thing. But I was aware of these problems before I started. I was sort of, I wanted the break from commission work, and I gave myself an even harder job to do to try and build a 3D printed kit, which I hate. So it's my own doing, my own fault. But I've got all these now sitting in primer, so I have all the rest of the engines ready to go. I've just now got to, I've glued that with Sapper Gap, and I've just got to wait until that sets. But I might use some Abe's epoxy sculpt, because it's kind of, this stuff, it's harder wearing than just the putty filler. But yeah, this is the kind of crap I hate dealing with. It's just, you think, what's the point? Look at that. That's going to be a nice straight line. So I'll probably have to heat that up again, which means these will probably get frazzled. And it's just, I see this heading towards the wall or in the bin soon. God, I hate 3D printed stuff. Yeah, so that's what I'm dealing with at the moment. Look at that. Oh well. That's the joys of model making. Anyway, okay, so I have been busy filling this nasty gap here. I didn't go with those in the end. This deluxe putty did the trick. I like to rescribe it as well, but it seems, primer will show how well I've done that, but that's all right. It's not too bad. It's sort of I'm less angry with it now. And underneath as well, I've got the engine just dry fitted on the edge there, and this is all dry fitted as well. Again, annoyingly, due to how things fit, this should be more upright, and I've had to knock away some of that tail to allow that to slip in. That's how it should sit, but of course when you put the part in, it can't go up because it knocks, so I'm going to have to take that right back and allow that engine to sit upright. That just comes out like that. Now, the other issue I had was that engine sitting flush, and it's still not right now. That needs to be pushed up more. I had to heat all that up and bend it round, because I'll just slide that off and show you how it was. That's how it was originally. So, again, when you do these 3D printed kits, and this was done by a guy that knows what he's doing. It's not his fault, it's just the nature of 3D printed work, that they distort and bend, and you do need some heat on it and filling and just so much elbow grease to get these looking to be an accurate model, or well, not accurate, but just a normal looking model, so it's not all twisted and bent and weird. But this is how we are at the moment. I need to heat that up again, turn it so that sits flush, and again on the other side I need to do the same. You can see how that's sitting, completely crooked. That needs to be twisted right up so it's flush. But I'm overcoming these problems, and that is enjoyment in a way. You sort of you can see where you've been. You can see the results of your hard work at least. So yeah, getting somewhere with it. But now I'm actually to the point where I think I can get this in gloss, well, primer it again, give it another little sand, smooth it over, and then get it in gloss black, and get it ready for the metal coat. I'm just dry fitting this canopy now, just to see how that looks. That at least sits in nicely. So that's good to know. But then the 3D printed clear canopy, of course, doesn't fit. It's all over the place. So I don't know if I should trim that down or try and make a buck with that, with clay or something, and then vac form the clear sheet over the top of it, which I've not done before. But again, it's a learning process, and you're always looking to learn how to do new things. Let's offer it up. I mean, that gap at the back is kind of there on purpose because you've got that gap on the canopy, but when you try and sit that over, if I try and push that down over, that's going to snap. So more heat or completely redoing it, I don't know. I've got this from my son's collection of toy parts. That could be cut down at the top and possibly be replaced for Grogu's little seat. But there are more problems down the line that I've got to solve, so this is how we're sitting at the moment.